Yo, what's going on, man? Welcome to another edition of the Players Ball Podcast where we cover all sports far and wide. I'm your host, Roddy. Go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter at the Players Ball One, as well as on Instagram at the Players Ball Podcast. And then go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel. We had a big episode last week. Please go check that out when you get a chance. It's with Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football, the greatest Saints reporter there is right now. So please go ahead and tap in with us. We got a lot of good information on there. See if some of our predictions were wrong or right. As you can tell, it's a Saints-centric podcast, so a lot of them were unfortunately wrong, but there was a lot of additional good information that came up in this week's game. So please make sure to go ahead and watch that video, like, subscribe, and go ahead and check Nick's information out. I put his information there too as well. Now, it's week 2, week 3 coming up now, and we had to talk to our guy because he's probably had the best first 2 weeks of the NFL season that he's had in years, maybe decades, okay? Obviously, you saw what happened in Baltimore, and you saw the fireworks that exploded in the last, 15 minutes of the game. So none other then our boy Kyle is in the building. My boy, what is going on with you today, sir?
What's good with you? What's good?
I can see the smile on your face, so that means that you've been happy, I guess, for that last 2 weeks. Can we agree with that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Look, I'm surprised. I'm surprised not because you guys look this good, but I'm surprised that it's starting to translate so quickly, especially against teams like the Ravens. So I guess we can go ahead and get into it. My guy, Black Mike, shout out to him. Hard black man working. How do you feel about his offense? And, what's been one of the things that you've been the most impressed with, so far going on?
Play design. Play design has been probably my favorite improvement in terms of just like the way the offense looks. Obviously, adding Tyreek Hill in the mix with Jalen Waddle is going to boost efficiency on the offense regardless. But the way our plays are looking, the scheme is just like we're moving real fast. There's everything seems to make sense for everybody. And that's something that we haven't had under our previous head coaches. So at least since Tua has been here, just things are a bit more cohesive now on the offensive side of the ball, and everything is a lot flashier, which just boosts, the excitement of the game. So I think, play design has been just like a massive upside of just all of these different things coming together.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, anytime you have a guy that you essentially have to double like Tyreek Hill, getting him wide open in situations is, that's why you brought him here. Especially why you brought McDaniel in as well. And I think it's all because of my guy, Jalen Waddle. And I know he went to Alabama. I understand. I don't really like that about him, but I have him on my fantasy team, and I had him last year on my fantasy team as well. And the reason I saw him out was not only the chemistry that he's going to have with Tua naturally from playing with him so much, but I just think he opens up so much for Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill, vice versa, opens so much for him that this is the reason why this offense obviously is flowing. When you have to worry about two guys like that, and then there are other options within the offense, good weapons that you guys have. Chase Edmonds obviously showed his value this week as well.
Yeah.
So again, I think you see a lot of Miami mirroring what San Francisco was when Mike McDaniel was there. A lot of speed, maybe not the most confident in the quarterback, which is fine, but you can have those safety nets or safety valves to make sure that you guys can still be successful. So I guess we can, go on to my second question, which is about your guy Tua. So obviously there have been some great moments, fantastic moments. Obviously 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions is a good game. I wouldn't say you want to have the 2 turnovers, but 6 touchdowns to make up for it. So how do you feel about him so far, and where do you feel like he can make some improvements, if he can at all?
I think, like I've said on here before, I'm not looking at Tua to see like a huge, massive jump in performance. This is his third offensive coordinator, a third offense, second head coach in 3 seasons. So I mean, I'm not looking to see him just turn into an All Pro or a Hall of Famer in 3 years. But this game is so important to who he is going to be for the remainder of his career. Like this was an insane confidence booster for him. Like obviously the 2 turnovers, that's just a consequence of him maybe not feeling comfortable in the pocket at the time. And Dolphins fans on Twitter, we talk about it all the time in terms of just him maybe having a bit of PTSD in the pocket. His offensive line has been absolutely terrible, one of the worst in the league since he's gotten there. And he might not just be used to having that amount of time or amount of space. So he might feel like he's just a bit more like needs to be a bit more cautious and get the ball out, and he's just forcing it in there. And the interceptions are a consequence of that. But then he turns that around. They go down big, and he's like, "Hey, I gotta win this for my folks." Yeah. So he puts up 6 touchdowns, and that's that again. This is my guy, and I'm gonna say it here. He has that dog in him. Like that's just what it is. That's what it is. Like he loves being an underdog, and to me it's crazy. But you go down 35, 14 or something, and then come back and do what you had to do. Like it is what it is. He gonna come and show you what he has, and we got the products and the environment to make everything come together. So this game in particular, I think is just going to change the way he sees himself for the remainder of the season and possibly the remainder of his career. It's a huge boost in morale, which again boosts his confidence, the confidence in him from his teammates and in himself and the coaching staff. All of those things coupled together are just going to make him a much better quarterback for the remainder of the season and possibly his career.
Yeah, I hope so, because I mean, again, like he can be very, very good. And I don't think that a lot of people give, him credit for that, because again, you saw him with no line. You saw him in a very ideal situation in college where, he had the receivers and he had, the personnel to go with it. So I can understand the skepticism. I really can. But again, now that he has the tools and the, scheme, that's a lot too. Because as you could see in our Saints game this year, or this week, should I say, the scheme can be great, but if you're not hitting the guys, if you're not precise and on target, it doesn't fucking matter at all. So I'm just thankful that he's been able to not be afraid to push the ball downfield, not be afraid to stay in the pocket for a little bit longer. Obviously, guys like Tehran are making that a little bit more comfortable for him, but I think going forward, yeah, man, if he can just continue to play as if, there are no expectations of him, as if, basically I'm just out here to try to do what I do best. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to be per se the best quarterback in the league or even the best quarterback in the division, as we'll go into, our preview for this week coming up. I just have to be good enough for my team to win, which is, again, kind of a similar situation that we saw in San Francisco. So,
I mean, he's not like Lamar Jackson. He's not going to run you for 100 yards, and escape the pocket in glorious fashion. But like he showed, and on one of those 6 touchdowns, he can move. He can get out of the pocket. He can get out of a bad situation. And I can't say I want him to be a super mobile quarterback. It's fun to watch, but after that hip injury, I can't expect that from him. So what I can expect from him is to get comfortable in the pocket, get comfortable with your offense, continue to work on your timing with your receivers and your blockers. Just work on those things that will keep making you a good quarterback. So that's all I can really ask of him, and I think that's what he's going to do. His teammates know it, the coaching staff knows it, the media is starting to see it. He's a hard worker, so this isn't going to be like he's never going to give up on a season or a game, and that's what I said. He has that underdog mentality. He likes it. He likes being down. So he can fight back and prove all the haters.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. He has that spirit in him, and I'm just glad, like I said, that he's got the facilities, as we could say,
Yeah.
because it was limiting him, and I don't think he was getting a fair shake, and I think he finally will get the opportunity to now. So shout out to him for sure. But I did want to get to another point of the team that kind of is getting underlooked a little bit. The defense was really good in week one. Obviously, week two is a different animal facing Lamar. All of the Ravens' weapons, we saw a lot of all 22 tape that would lead us to believe that the Ravens should have had a lot more points in that game or should have had a lot more yards at minimum.
Yeah.
So are you concerned, with the defensive effort, or is that just, go to Lamar and, him being so great?
I am definitely concerned with the defensive effort because this is the same group of guys that we had last year. Like we've added a few pieces here and there, but even that we've added pieces that should have made us better for this
Yeah.
season in this game. So I definitely concerned about that. They should have not put 35 points up on us, especially with the limitations they had in their running back room. So that was annoying too. Like they didn't run on us from that position like Lamar did all of that. But even then, like they should have to defer to doing that sort of thing. Like we shouldn't allow them to have 35 points up on us if we didn't allow them to do it the year before. So it's that was definitely frustrating. And I hate to say it because I love this guy, but I saw Xavier Howard giving up on some plays out there a few times that kind of made me angry. And they exposed the fact that we only have one good cornerback on our roster. So that's what it is. And Byron Jones is currently hurt. So we got backups on backups on backups trying to cover for him. So we just don't have that equality on both sides of the field when it comes to the cornerback position. So that's going to hurt us probably for the remainder of the season until Byron Jones comes back if he comes back this season. So that's just going to be something we just have to work on. And I did see some good flashes though. Cater Kohu, he looked really good. I'm hoping that he gets some more playing time because for me, I do not want Nick Needham being my corner two anymore. So, and I've wanted him off of my roster for the past 3 years. So, the sooner that happens, the better, in my opinion. But I I can really only say our blitzing safeties, Xavier Howard, linebackers looked good in my opinion, except for the run game. Um, I'm really concerned about that second cornerback position most of all. So I I don't know. We'll see how it goes the remainder of this season, but we have a lot of challenges ahead on defense.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think you only faced one, subpar, at least in your division, receiving group, obviously in New England.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, why you guys had so much success in week one.
Yep.
It's going to be a test, obviously, this week coming up. We'll get into it next, but I think I agree with you just mainly because when you have a whole bunch of guys where, you just listed a whole bunch of guys that aren't household names, okay, to say the least.
Yeah.
And when you have a bunch of those guys, it's only a matter of time before there's those few plays, those few moments in the game that they mess up, and it potentially changes the momentum of the game, not only but the season as well.
Yeah.
So I agree. Now I do think getting a ferocious pass rush would help, obviously. I don't think the pass rush has been awful. But I do think, if they could pick up the pressure a little bit more, it would obviously take a lot of stress off of that back end. So how are you feeling about the pass rush, and what improvements are you looking to see from them too?
It's because it's week two. I'm not going to overreact on our defensive line, but I expected Jalen Phillips to come in flying on every single play since week one. Like you're supposed to be improving as the seasons go on, and
Mhm.
it's been a weak start for the defensive line. So I'm hoping that as the season continues, we will start to see Christian Wilkins and Jalen Phillips start having that back and forth with sacks. Just we should be getting one every single drive. You know what I'm saying? Like at least one.
Yeah.
Like come on, just give me one. But Ed, I will defer to the later half of the season and see how we look then. But if Jalen Phillips can't get anything going against Josh Allen in that offensive line, and Christian Wilkins can't get anything going against Josh Allen in the offensive line, then we will start to see whether or not we're going to have problems later on in the season, because this is where your numbers need to be in the big games. So if you can make the big stops, if you can get after the quarterback, make him uncomfortable, that's what you need to do in the bigger games of the season. Like I understand, you might face a Jacksonville and you like, okay, you might take it easy, but you don't want any of your players to take it easy. But you know, you want the big plays in the big games. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to be looking for next week. And then if we improve from these past couple of weeks against the Bills on Sunday, then I'll be more confident for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's go ahead and get into it, man. I mean, you did say, obviously for the defensive effort, what was needed. But offensively, I think the Bills defense is not getting a lot of credit because they've been sensational for the past 2 weeks. Obviously, they are posed a different threat with, obviously Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. So, what do you think offensively are some of your keys to victory and, making this Bills defense, work a little bit?
It's definitely going to come down to the play calling, I think. Spacing is going to be super important when you have two guys like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, making sure they're not, I I'm not a big fan of crossing routes when it comes to two guys that are so important to your roster and so
Mhm.
fast, and they add so much to the game. Mainly because I think it cuts off the opportunity to make your defense uncomfortable a little bit. So I think if you give them enough spacing between their routes and the play calling is good enough, then you get the opportunity for doubles, you get the opportunity for someone to flash open. And I think that's what is going to be super important. Like if we can just get somebody open, like this is going to be a shootout, I think, because I'm not going to rely on my defense next week. So I think this is going to be like, this may end up being just like the Ravens game where you get 35 points and 35 points. So I think if we can just flash people open, get enough spacing, I think that's going to be the biggest key to the game. And obviously, I'm not too concerned about Tua coming into this week because of that 6 touchdowns he had the game before, and the 460 plus yards. I think I think he's just going to continue to build that confidence, and that's going to be the biggest, most important thing for him, at least coming into this game, is okay, him saying I can do this, and then that'll help everything else. But I think the play calling is going to be the most important thing. Just making sure that we have guys that are in the right areas, and not too close to each other.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another caveat of this is we talked about this in the division preview. Your teams in your division are built to beat you,
Mm-hmm.
So going up against the best of the division, potentially best in the NFL, not just
Yeah,
AFC.
yeah,
Um, Again, like you said, it's going to give Tua that confidence. Like if he can get his game off in one of these games, if he can read the defense, which is a very good defense, again, despite the injuries that they have with Trey White not playing yet, still a
hmm
very good defense.
yeah. I
I
mean,
think it's good.
Khair Elam, I think he's starting for them now.
Hmm.
Von Miller is over there, which I said before I was super concerned about. So that's going to be super important. We'll see. We'll see what happens. See what looks he gets.
Yeah, and Josh loves playing in Miami. I don't know what it is, but like as of late, he's been on y'all next in Miami. So I think the number one key is I would I would totally sell out for the pass. Like I whatever y'all want underneath, y'all can get underneath.
Yeah.
I am not allowing no deep bombs. I'm not allowing any outside of the pocket plays. And I'm trying to force you to run the ball because you saw it a lot in that Tennessee game this past Monday. They didn't really want to run the ball. I mean, they could do it. They got, a few positive plays, but the value of their football team is to put the ball in the air and let their quarterback be the talented freak that he is. So I would totally sell out to the pass if I was the defense. Do you agree with that, or do you feel like the pass rush can get enough in order to make Josh make a few mistakes or something like that?
I don't currently have enough confidence in our pass rush to say that yes, like we'll be perfectly fine. I can't say that just yet. It'll probably be something like, let me see how the first half looks,
Yeah.
and then go from there. But I Stephon Diggs is gonna destroy us. I I'm just I'm that's just what it's going to have to be. I don't think I can rely on Xavier Howard to be the only defense against Stephon Diggs. And
Mhm.
Javon Holland, he's our new safety. He's great, but he's young, and this is only his third time facing the Bills. This will be his third time facing the Bills. So this is still new for him. And even though he's super talented, I can't say that he can be the only help that Xavier Howard needs. So this is going to be super interesting for us. And is Dawson Knox playing?
Yeah, so
Does he
I
still play for the
think
Bills?
yeah, yeah, I think he should be playing. The only person I was wondering about was Gabe Davis, who didn't play on Monday.
Mhm.
And I mean, he was the leading touchdown scorer last year for them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like if he can play, man, it's gonna be tough, man.
It's gonna be ugly. I think defense wise for the Dolphins, it might get ugly. Um, I know I'm not starting them in fantasy this week for
Oh,
sure.
please don't. Yeah,
Uh,
please don't. Don't start either defense, really, honestly, because
no, honestly, exactly. I don't think so either. Um, and you mentioned earlier, you had Waddle on your fantasy. I got Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle on my fantasy
jeez,
teams. Boy,
the
boy,
hell?
last week,
Yeah, I know. That's what I was about to say.
please.
If I showed you the screenshot of my fantasy league, I was playing Tyreek and I had Waddle, and it's like, bro, if Reek didn't have what, like 11 more, receiving yards, like,
Mhm.
come on. So, yeah, those two are going to be fantasy monsters. And I told people that. I told people Waddle, DeAndre Swift, and who's my other guy? Josh Allen. I mean, I think he's going to be the MVP this year. So,
Maybe we'll
yeah,
see. If
yeah.
if Tua knocks him off, I don't know. I think if Tua knocks him off, I think Tua's getting that MVP.
Well, he got to keep it up, man, because
Yeah.
the NFL likes that narrative talk too, and the
Mhm.
narrative of Josh losing last year, and all of that stuff. I think they want to push him, but if Tua balls, man, they're gonna have no choice. Like they've had plenty agendas, in the NFL season that they've tried to set up for Brady, for Manning, for
Yeah.
Rodgers, Drew Brees. It doesn't matter, whoever it is. But again, it goes to the most balling baller. So I don't look. I don't know. I'll see what happens. I don't want to count to out in any circumstance, but yeah, y'all know my pick. That's all I'm saying. Y'all know my pick. But I do want to, now that we kind of covered the all things Dolphins, before
Mhm.
we left, I did want to kind of get into some other games from around the league, and if you wanted to get deep into them, we definitely can. But I just wanted, quick picks, how you feel about the game, whatever.
Okay.
We'll start with Thursday night's game, and that is going to be Mitchell Trubisky going to face Jacoby Brissett in Cleveland after the second most embarrassing comeback of the day
Mhm.
on week 2. So, how do you feel about that game? Who do you see winning?
Uh, I think I got Trubisky, big
Oof.
Trubisky.
Okay.
I'm not. Listen, don't ask me about the Browns, bro.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no faith in that organization or that football team. So
Yeah.
anytime I can count out the Browns, I'm going to do it. So I think Trubisky has been playing like Trubisky. What it is. He's not no superstar, but he'll get you a game. So
Yeah,
you know, and
he'll get you a game against Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, he definitely will.
exactly. And this, do the Browns still have Denzel Ward?
Yep, he is. I'm not sure if he's healthy, but yes, they do still have him.
Yeah, if he's healthy, then it might be a bit of a concern, but I don't I don't see it being that big of a deal. Myles Garrett has been letting me down a little bit too much lately in terms of his numbers because I had the Browns defense last season and
hmm
it did nothing for me. So I don't know how he's looking. I don't know what his flashes have been the past couple of weeks, but I don't know. I don't really have a big opinion on the Browns defense in terms of mainly because I don't have a big opinion on their organization as a whole. So
Yeah, I agree. The Browns defense is okay. There are people who think it's really good. I think it's good. Miles Garrett was really good in week 1. Week 2, kind of eh. But the Jets' offensive line has been improved. They've obviously invested into it because they've been so terrible
yeah,
over the past couple of years. So yeah, the Browns. We'll see when the nasty man comes back what they look like, but for right now, I can't really give anything either. So I
yeah,
got the Steelers too. I'm just going with Tomlin's experience and everything like that. I don't really. I mean, it's one of those games. It's one of those games. Um, Now I'm gonna ask you about this game to give myself an excuse to talk about it. The Saints are going to Carolina this week, obviously coming off the loss to Tampa. Carolina with probably two of the ugliest losses I've ever seen in my life. So how do you feel about that game?
I think that's a Saints dub.
hmm
Yeah, I think that's a Saints dub. I again no faith in the Carolina Panthers in my opinion. CMC hasn't been too strong these past 2 weeks. I think in terms of who he used to be. He's just not. He's just not there. Baker Mayfield and Robbie Anderson are not going to continue up that connection in terms of like 75-yard bombs or whatever. That's not going to be a problem for the remainder of the season. So this is your defense should not have to worry about that, in my opinion. Um, I think Moore is the other receiver that's on the Panthers. Um,
hmm
I again also don't see that being too big of a deal. I do like y'all's defensive line though. I think y'all can cause a lot of problems for Baker, so that'll be interesting to see. That'll probably be a game that I tune into because I have Red Zone, so I'll be looking up. I'll be looking out for that game. Um, that should be interesting though. I think y'all can probably get Baker uncomfortable. He is also a pick machine, so that'll probably be really good for y'all.
Yeah. Obviously last week was terrible. I'm not gonna shy away from it at all. All the shit that we talked, it was inevitable. Okay,
Yeah,
it was inevitable. Um, I think the key to this game is literally just to run the ball efficiently. I don't think there's really anything else we have to do. Jameis isn't going to have to be really good because, the defensive front isn't anything compared to the Bucks. I think maybe if you're looking in Atlanta, of course Grady Jarrett is a monster, but I think we were able to find some success in the run game too. And I mean, with the Saints, it's been the mistakes, it's been the fumbles, it's been the interceptions, it's been the wrong reads, it's been everything like that. So it's fixable. It's definitely stuff that's fixable, but it's stuff that needs to get fixed rather quickly because I I just this team has so much potential to be good. And watching, these first halves of these games has been maddening because the offense just feels like it's trying so hard to, do anything, just move the ball down the field. So I think once Jameis, again, he has to settle down, he has to get used to the fact that he doesn't have the home run or have to hit the home run every single time. He can still
yeah,
take his check downs and the home run will open up. I promise it will. But you just have to wait for it, James. You just have to wait for it, man. Okay. Um, we'll go to two more games. I want to go first to our Monday night game, the Cowboys at the Giants. I personally have been really impressed with the Giants. I'm gonna go ahead and actually take them to win this game.
Mm.
But I did want to see how you felt about Cooper Rush and his ability to beat the Bengals. I mean, that was really ridiculous, if you want to be honest.
Yeah. I think that was in my. I didn't pay too close of an attention to that game once I found out Dak got hurt. Um, it's Cooper Rush, so we can't take this too seriously.
Mhm.
Um, I think, in my opinion, the Cowboys have a solid enough offense to where you can make Cooper Rush feel a lot better than he is. So that'll be interesting to see. Just if they can maybe keep up production until Dak comes back. So that'll be fun to watch. I think I'm a Zeke fan, and I have been since he got in the league. I'm looking to him to see if he can, bring a bit of that like flashiness back to his runs. But once he started splitting time with Tony Pollard, I think that kind of hurt him a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but I like Tony Pollard too. I wanted the Dolphins to draft him, so I've loved the way he runs. Um, so that'll be really cool to see too. I
Yeah,
think
for
that's
sure.
I think that's where the win will come from is the run game for the Cowboys, in my opinion. Because Saquon Barkley ain't do shit for me last week, so I'm still very sour about that. So um, I think if the Cowboys run game gets going, they can get that dub. Um, I'm not confident in the Giants when it comes to the air route, so I have absolutely no confidence in them in that regard. Saquon Barkley, he's the only other running back I have on my fantasy team, so I have to hope that he plays well.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think he plays well enough to like drown out everything the Giants have wrong. So I'm giving this dub to the Cowboys. I think their run game will get them the dub.
Okay. Yeah, definitely so. And look, man, the Giants being 2-0, we've seen a lot of fake 2-0 teams. So
Yeah,
people who are putting a lot of stock into that don't put a lot of stock into that.
yeah,
Okay. Because there are some teams that luck of the draw, things happen. Things happen. But we'll end out the show probably on the game of the week. It's Packers, it's Bucks. I'll go ahead and pick the Packers in this game, and I'll tell you why. Um, I think the Bucks are going to give you the same approach, play a lot of zone. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to pick it apart. And I do get that, obviously they looked embarrassing against the Vikings. Um, Last week Tom Brady didn't give you a lot either, man. He
yeah.
really didn't. Obviously the Packers defense, I feel like personally is a little bit less talented than our defense, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to take the enough checkdowns and enough, simple stuff in order to win the game. Now, I do get that Aaron Rodgers has the curse of him not being able to play in Florida. I know he's like 0 for against all the Florida teams. I get it. But I didn't see enough from the Bucks last week to give me a lot of confidence. And yes, I do think it is concerning that the Bears were able to get a lot of runs off on their defense. So the defensive line and the linebackers are going to have to come to play because Leonard Fournette is going to come to play.
Yep.
But ultimately, I see the Packers winning, man. I think Aaron finally does it because everybody's probably going to be on the Bucks. Everybody thinks the Bucks are going to start 3-0, and I don't think that's going to be the case. So, I mean, what do you feel like? Do you think it is going to be a Bucks victory?
Tom Brady is not going to lose to Aaron Rodgers.
Oh God, man.
He's not going to let that happen. This is the greatest quarterback of all time we're talking about here, who hates Aaron Rodgers with his gut. So like this is not going to be a conversation. I think Tom Brady is going to come out and play lights out, going to play like a Hall of Fame quarterback that everybody knows he is and that he's proven to be. Um, Leonard Fournette is going to go absolutely crazy. Um, Vita Vea is going to be a big ass problem. So, that's going to be a fun game. Highlights in
Oh, yeah.
particular, though, that's going to be a highlight game to watch. So, I've got Bucks. I'm going to give a score prediction here. I've got
Ooh,
Bucks 27, Packers 7. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers against
wow.
Tom Brady, so
Wow.
I think it's
Okay.
gonna be fun. I think Tom Brady is gonna come ready to play. He hates Aaron Rodgers. He gonna give him what he's got. So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I guess since you put your credibility on the line, let me put mine on the line too. I got the Packers like 23-20. I got them like by like a field goal. Um, and again, I just think Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be stupid. Hopefully, the freaking receivers catch the ball, because that was the biggest frustration of Week 1. Please just catch the ball. He's putting you in the right position. He's going to give you the ball when you're open. Just
yeah,
catch it, please. Catch
and
it.
Chris,
Oh, my boy done froze. Oh shit. Oh, oh, hold on. Oh, damn, damn. There we go. Now you back.
what? Oh
All
my
right,
god!
there we go.
I was like, what happened?
There we go. All right, we can just start up. I'll edit this part. Let me write that down. 36, 50. All right, yeah. What were you saying though?
I was asking if Christian Watson has been playing well his first 2 games.
He
Is he
hasn't
causing
gotten a
problems?
ton. He hasn't got a ton of feature. Obviously, like Aaron Rodgers is a guy. He needs some rapport with you in order to put that full trust in you. So he's been getting some looks. He's been getting some targets. I think he's been relying more on Lazard and Aaron Jones, like out of the passing game, as of recently. Keyshawn Dobbs, I think is his name as well. He's been a big part of stretching the field for them. So I think he has the weapons, man. I do, but you're right. It's Brady. It's Brady at home. The home opener. Aaron Rodgers can't play in Florida. It's a lot of things working against my prediction. I understand that, but I really do think the Packers are going to get this one. I really do. So we'll see what happens. But
We'll see.
my boy, I appreciate you for joining us as always. Please tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at KAW1_ and on Instagram at KyleDVLKER.
Yes, sir. And then go ahead and follow us at the Players Ball 1, at the Players Ball Podcast on Instagram. Like and subscribe to this video, or subscribe to the channel, should I say. Be sure to go back again and watch our video with Nick Underhill. Run it up for us. We want to get Nick back on the show so we can, show him love. So please be looking for another episode of the Players Ball Podcast next week. We'll have a lot to review, I'm sure. And yeah, we'll see what happens, man. But until then, we'll holla at y'all later, man. Peace.